Guys, for years, there has been a debate in the tactical knife community. Which is better, an OTF or gravity knife? So we're going to take a look at it from above. All right, guys, I apologize up front. I am sick. I didn't mention in the intro. This is a topic I've been thinking about, and now that the new year has rolled around, I wanted to do some new topics, and we're going to talk about gravity knives like this Remet, I think this is the Swordfish, and this XO gravity knife by We Knife Company, and out the fronts, because they're very similar. They both have blades that come out the front, as you see, but these ones have got a spring mechanism in them to drive them out. So at face value, you would think the obvious choice would be this, but let's go ahead and look at each of them, and then I will tell you why I think you might be wrong. So let's go ahead and get the gravity knives out of the way. So these automatic OTF knives are really cool. They've got a spring mechanism in here. We did a video where I took one of these apart and I explained how they work, but basically there's a couple gates in here that hold the knife and it locks it in place, and it allows the spring to drive. So what happens is you put tension on the spring one way, and it overcomes the springs in the gates and allows the blade to come forward, and that spring comes up, and then it locks, and then you do the same thing going the other direction. This is just a smaller version of the same thing. This one actually is the better of the two. This is the smaller one. And so you would think that that would be really cool. Everybody's like, oh, well, that's got to be the tactical deployment and things like that. Well, these suffer from some serious problems. First and foremost, neither one of these types of knives would be something I would want to carry if I was carrying it for my life to depend on it. These are very, very finicky. You can see down inside, there's a lot of mechanisms and stuff inside one of these, right? So underneath these panels are a set of springs and gates that have springs, and then this lever mechanism that's in there. And they're really finicky, and it's all enclosed. So when this is in your pocket, they have a tendency to get gummed up. Like they will gum up and get stuff in them, and then they're not as reliable. They will start to gum up, and if you don't have the proper lubrication in them and it dries up, they do not run dry very well. Well, because they have to stay oiled all the time, pocket lint and things like that will accumulate in there. This one is the worst of the two, and I don't know why. That the smaller one, but you can see even in these areas here, you need to oil underneath these switches. This doesn't get carried maybe 3 times a year, but still already got pocket lint and stuff in it. And so to clean them, there's like specific ways you have to do it, and it's time consuming. You gotta take this piece out, and then usually I'll use like some spray solvent to clean everything out and then re-lubricate the whole thing. And then you have to work around it. And then there's another issue that these have going with them that people don't usually see, and I'm gonna show you right now with a simple piece of printer paper. Now, I don't know, I haven't tested this to see if it'll do it, but a lot of times that's printer paper. That is a single sheet of paper. That knife failed to deploy. So the thing that these have is they have, all of them got this derailing system. This one's got a little bit stronger spring, let's see. But it still did not fully deploy. This is a simple one apply piece of printer paper. So what you have is a derail system. And so when that happens, you have to, let me grab the paper again. Sorry, I threw the paper off. I threw the paper off camera. So let's derail it again. That time it did fully deploy. Let's see. There we go. So now something as simple as a piece of paper has now made your knife not work. If you're pulling this out for self-defense or tactical purposes, now I have to sling this open or pull up on this to get it to lock back into the sled, because it derails the blade from the sled. And so now you basically have a knife that when you did that, it's now no longer functional. So unlike the reason we're not comparing it to something like this, unlike an out the side, which if I hit up against an object and I move away, it's going to continue to deploy. These do not do that. It's a one-shot thing. Now, there is a caveat to this. I do know that there is a single, these are double action out the front. There is a single action out the front that is like this, where it's a push button and then you have to reload the spring. Those will, if you pull away from the obstruction, lock, and then you can use the knife. Those are a better option, but I don't have the exorbitant amount of money it would take to get a Halo from Microtech. So these suffer from that. So they're really finicky. If they get dirty, it doesn't take much for them to to start to misfire. They have to be constantly kept clean and constantly lubricated. They are fun and they are cool. But yeah, that's a big problem. Now, let's go ahead and bring out the gravity knives for comparison. Because of the two, I mean, these are still out the front. These are just not automatic out the front. Of the two types, these are much more reliable. They're a very simple mechanism. See right there? Very simple mechanism, really strong lock. You've got that in your hand like you are the lock. Some of the newer models of this actually have a lock, so you can lock it open, lock it closed. This one does lock. So when you deploy that blade, it locks in, it's in place, and if you hit something during deployment and then pull back, it will lock. The same with this. It's very simple. If I didn't get that knife fully deployed, I just continue on what I was doing. You do not have to sling that blade back out. There is nothing to foul up. As a matter of fact, you never have to lubricate this. I lubricated this one time and it actually got sticky. So these are meant to run dry. So you don't have to lubricate them. They're easy to clean. Your whole mechanism is right there. This one is a little bit more finicky. It does have a couple issues. This one, you can actually get it to where it won't deploy all the way and then it's still there. But if you were to stab into something, like if you're using it as a stabbing implement, you're not completely locked. But you do have more friction. But this one is not my preferred of the two. This is probably, I think, the best gravity knife ever, just because it's so simple. These don't suffer from that. They don't have, and we'll bring one of these out, they don't have the issue of a derail or things like that. They don't have an issue if it gets dirty. What they do have, however, that this doesn't have, or these don't have, this has, but this doesn't have, is the fact that if I do this, like if I'm laying on my back, that doesn't do anything. If I'm laying on my back, I can do that and then utilize the knife. You have to have gravity. So you have to have that knife pointing in a direction at least partially down that will deploy. If you're on the ground and on your back and you can't get in that position, this knife has now become a kubaton where you're using it as a strengthening implement, or what they call a Yarwa stick, where you're using it and you're trying to get on pressure points, because until you can get released, you don't have that. This is why neither one of these types of knives, be it an out the front, be it a switchblade, even the out the side switchblades, I'm not such a big fan of. They are not going to provide you a tactical knife. I don't think any of these knives are tactical. If any of them, I would say this would be closer because it's reliable. Now, the thing is, people are like, well, they were designed as a tactical knife. Well, tactical knife is a weird generalization. These were designed, gravity knives in general, designed in before World War, I think it was like World War I into World War II, like 1930s, 1940s. They were designed for paratroopers so that they had a knife that was easy to deploy, to release themselves if they got caught up, or, you know, in a tree and needed to cut themselves loose of their parachute. But none of these are great. They are fun. I'm not going to lie to you. All of these are a blast. That's why they're in my collection. I have fun with them. But they're just not great. But if I had to pick a gravity, if I had to pick one of any of these, it would be this. Now, I'm trying to see if I can get my hands on a Halo from Microtech, which is a push button out the front single action, which is just, it's under spring tension all the time. You push the button and it releases. I'm going to try and get one of those and we'll see. But for now, the winner and the champ is the gravity knife, and I'm going to tell you it is this gravity knife in particular. I love the EXO gravity knife. It's a very good design. It is probably the best gravity knife that has ever hit the market. But still, of all of these, it's the one, but to tell you the truth, none of them really win. They're all, I mean, being the best of the worst. Okay, yeah, there you go. So at any rate, guys, that's it on this one. Let's turn this around, do some final thoughts, and send you out about your day. So there you go, guys. Neither one of these knives are something that if I was in the military, I definitely would not carry one of these OTF and rely on it, as finicky as they are. And the fact is, this isn't that much better, but of the two, I think that the gravity knife, more specifically this EXO gravity knife, is a much better option, like I said at the table. So there you go, guys. That's it on this one. Hopefully you enjoyed it. I have enjoyed making some of these newer videos. Some of them have not made the cut, but it has been fun with this new setup I'm trying to do of different topics. So With that being said, guys, I apologize. I am sick. I think I mentioned it in the body of the video. If you like the videos, give them a thumbs up. If you don't like it, give them a thumbs down. But please tell me why I can't change the content. If you don't, tell me what you don't like. If you want to support the channel, ton of affiliate links. Like I've said before, the channel's self-sponsored. Almost every major knife vendor is down below, including specific companies like Artisan and Kaiser. I also have 2 links down there. Well, oh, Amazon store. Take that, pin it to your browser, use it for all your Amazon shopping. I have 2 links down there, Coffee Brand Coffee, Temper Trail. Great small businesses owned by great people that have a 10% discount built in their links. The coffee's amazing. It's the only coffee I drink these days. And I also have a coupon code of crazysharp that works at KATSU Knives, Farron Forge Knife Works, and Rosecraft Blades. It's crazysharp, all one word. It saves you 10% at checkout. I have got a membership. Get into the membership. Early access to videos and exclusive content. And I'm going to start doing giveaways for some of the tiers. Again, I had kind of stopped doing that. And then last thing, I have a public Discord. If you want to reach out to me, if you've got a knife you want to get on the channel, just send me a DM over the one that says join the community down below. Get in there and you can talk to me there and send me stuff. Guys, that's it on this one. I love you all. Keep it clean in the comments section. If it's your birthday, happy birthday. And I will see you in the next video, hopefully without a voice that's all screwed up.